Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Chaplinsky,
Here.
Vice Chair Walowski. Here. And Chair Hammersley.
Hammersley's here. I did hear from Commissioners Salmeri, Gaida, and Coles. They won't be attending this evening, so we'll sit Commissioner Keard. And with that, we have a quorum. If we can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Could all remain standing for a moment of silent reflection, please. All right, thank you. Looking for a motion to approve our minutes from our last meeting on June 3rd, 2025. Commissioner Walowski,
So moved.
do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Britton with a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Jamie, are you abstaining because you weren't here?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Can-
Chair.
Can you mark that, please, Dave? All right. Motion passes. Commissioner discussion, any subcommittee reports? None? Okay. Chairman comments. I just wanted to mention that there was an email that went out from Deb about an opportunity to do some training. I think it's tomorrow, Dave, if I'm correct? Wednesday, the 13th, I think it is? Or the,
I'd have to check. I don't follow those.
but anyways, if you could take a look at that. The other two things is that the DePaulo building was sold. They're looking to do some improvements down there, so that's exciting. Just to let the commission know, I think that everybody maybe saw that. And then the other one was that the Briarwood property was sold. I think that they closed on that on yesterday, on Monday, I heard earlier. And it was sold to a group that does like an exclusive prep school type of an operation. So we'll see what they're gonna do there, but I think that both of those are pieces of good news that I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of, as well as people out in the public also. But other than that, I have nothing else, so we'll just move into item number 9 on the agenda. Oh, wait, one more thing. Where is it? I just want to read the, what I call the preamble, which is somewhere in here. I thought it was somewhere in here. Is it? No, that's not it, no. Anyways, I'll try to do what I can from my memory. Just to let people in the public know that this commission operates a little bit differently than other boards or commissions in towns. We're basically broken into two different parts. One is a public hearing and one is a business meeting. Under the public hearing, the applicant gets an opportunity to present their plans to the members of the commission, which is followed by the questions and answers, Q&A with the commission between the applicant. Following that, once the applicant is done with their presentation, which is intended to give everybody an idea of what they want to do and understand what their plans are. Following that, what we do is we open up to members of the public to either to give us their input on what they think about the applicant's plans, and again, to be followed by Q&A with members of the commission if there are any. And then once the public hearing is done, what we do is and all the answers and questions have been provided, we'll work to close the public hearing. Once a public hearing is closed, the commission is not allowed to take any further testimony or evidence into consideration with regards to that application. And then the business meeting portion of the agenda is where the commission deliberates on the actual application itself. And that's really a discussion amongst the commission members and doesn't involve members of the public, or in most cases, the applicant is not involved in that process. The only exception really is under a site plan approval, which is a little bit different. But so everybody knows we all are going to be respectful of each other. We all talk respectfully. Members of the commission are volunteers. So we're doing what we can do to the betterment of our community, and we make sure that everybody treats everybody. That includes, the applicant, members of the public, and people sitting up here should be treated respectfully, and that's a rule that I enforce pretty well. So just try to be aware of things, as your mother may have said, if you ain't got anything nice to say, then, just hold it to yourself. Of course, if you're opposed to something, by all means, you have the right to let us know that, but let's make sure we do it respectfully. Once a decision is being looked at, we have essentially 4 different options. One is to approve an application as submitted. 2 is to approve it with stipulations or modifications. 3 is to table an application for a future meeting, or 3 is to deny an application. If you have to leave before a meeting or a decision has been reached, by all means, reach out to Dave LaValle down there at the end in the planning department tomorrow, and he can let you know what happened. And with that, we'll move into the public hearing. Item number 9A, Northeast Winemaking Special Permit Application to permit 20% floor use for retail space per section 5E2 of the zoning regulation 5D6-1, property located at 310 West Street. This is SPU 715. If the applicant can come to the podium and give us a presentation. The other thing I'll say is that when you come to the podium, please start with your name and your address so we can get that on the record. So, Mr. Clark, if you can let us know where you all live.
Absolutely. Drew Clock, 104 Chicho Road in Southington. So for Northeast Winemaking, we have applied for the special permit to allow for 20% usage of retail of the total floor space. It is divided into 2 areas, Area A and B on your maps. Area A is for the primary winemaking section. That will be winemaking equipment, supplies, carboys, different things that home winemakers would be purchasing. Area B is the wine tasting room. That is where wine that will be produced on site will be offered both by the glass as well as areas to sit and relax and enjoy the wine and see what Connecticut wines can be from California grapes. So with that, it's pretty simple. Any questions?
Open up to members of the commission. Any questions of the applicant? Seeing none. Drew, anything to add before we open it up to the public?
No?
No? All right. Why don't you grab a seat, and we'll invite members of the public. If anyone would like to come and submit a testimony or give us some input on this application, please come up to the podium at this time. Again, start with your name and your address and let us know what your thoughts are. Going twice. Drew, anything to add before we?
No, stop.
I'm getting a negative, just to put that on the record. Any objection? You good? Any objection to closing the public hearing on the applicant's half anyways, right now? Drew, you object to closing the public hearing right now? Okay, any objection from any members of the commission on closing the public hearing? With that, we'll close the public hearing on item 9A, moving on to item 9B and 9C. Sorry, folks. Papers are a bit sticky today. Okay, we're going to take up 9B and C together because it's essentially one application. This is 3 Squared LLC proposed zone text amendment for revisions to Section 4 of the zoning regulations. Special zone proposal includes adding a Section 4J entitled Affordable Housing Zone to allow for the development of multifamily community as a set-aside development as defined by General Statutes 8-30G, parentheses 6, and to promote housing choice and economic diversity within the town of Southington. 9C is a petition to change the zoning district boundary from a business zone to a affordable housing zone. This property located at 1104 South Main Street, currently zoned a business zone. This is ZA 620 and ZC 582. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Chairman. Attorney Andrew Moran, 20 Church Street, Hartford, Connecticut. On behalf of the applicant, 3 Squared LLC. My colleague, Andre Gomes, cannot be here tonight, and I believe was already brought up with the commission, but our team is unable to attend tonight. But I'm here for purposes of maintaining the record to continue to object to the public hearing proceeding tonight. we understand that the public hearing will be continued to the next meeting. And I would just ask that that same apply to the site plan discussion as well. I'm going to step down and yield my time to the public, but I'll be in the audience taking notes. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Before you step down, Attorney Moore, and I want to just get something out of the way. Right now, the plan is that we provided a 21-day extension to y'all at your request at the last meeting, which takes us out to our next meeting, which is on July 15th. My understanding, and I stated it at the time, was that the applicant is revising the plans based on feedback that was received in the first couple public hearings from members of the public and members of the commission. We, up here, and people in the public are unaware of what those changes are. In fairness to members of the public and members of the commission, I'm going to request, and you could take this back if you need to, but I would appreciate getting a response back as soon as possible. I'm going to request a further extension of another 44 days, which takes it out to the last possible date of the public hearing as being August 28th. We have another meeting scheduled for August 19th, and I think in order to receive the input from members of the public, as well as answer any questions that may arise from members of the commission with regards to this, at this point, unseen revision, I think it's only fair that we give them the time to be able to do that and provide them with every opportunity that I think is intended as part of the process. So I'll give you that request. Again, if you need to bring that back to Attorney Gomes, I understand, but I would appreciate getting an answer back to her from her or you, I mean, if you're prepared to do that now, in a formal manner ASAP, so that we all can understand where we are. In addition, I have a couple of questions that I had out there that I didn't really get a chance to drill down into, which I'm happy to provide you with now. And you can go back and hopefully be prepared when your team comes back here in a month to be able to answer.
I'm
Would you like-
happy to receive questions.
Would you like me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So as part of the transportation plan or analysis that was done, I'm wondering if it looked at a parking needs analysis, specifically looking at any, the sufficiency of parking with regards to the tenants and the number, given the number of units, as well as the possibility of where any overflow traffic might be able to park their cars, their vehicles. I also am wondering if you could provide us with an estimated population of the building when fully occupied. I don't know if you all are involved or if it's more on a municipal end with the fire department review. But one of my understandings is that fire department looks at two sides of a building, and they need access into two sides of a building, which in this case would be the front portion of the building because it's an L-shaped building. My question is, do they look at rear setbacks and access into the rear and side yards to be able to address any situation that may occur or arise in those specific areas of the intended structure?
Okay.
So if you could look at those and just come back to us on the 15th, so we're fully prepared. I want to get those out there so you guys are ready to address those, and maybe your revision addresses those already. I don't know. Again, we're not privy to whatever you all have going on, so I appreciate that. Steve?
I believe that I asked on the record what the potential population would be. so
Okay,
I'm hoping
okay.
they're
And-
addressing that.
Excuse me, in respect to the first request, I will defer to Attorney Gomes on that, and in fact, when I sit back down, I'll get in touch with her, okay?
Okay. And if you have an answer before the end of this meeting, by all means, just let us know, and I'll announce it here. But if you don't, again, I just would appreciate letting us know as soon as possible whether she's receptive to that request from us.
Noted, thank
Okay?
you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we'll open up to members of the public who may want to testify either for or against this application. I will remind members that we've had a number of people come forward. I think the last count we had was somewhere in the number of 50 people who had testified in the last couple meetings that we had the public hearing open on this. If you had testified in the past, there's no need to testify again. Your comments and position are stated on the record already, and we'll take those into consideration when we do that. But by all means, not to inhibit anybody who might want to submit testimony or provide testimony. If you'd like to testify, please come up to the podium, give us your name and your address, and let us know what your thoughts are, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Nicholas Morin.
Can you just get closer to the mic?
Sorry.
Give us the name again, sorry.
Yeah, Nicholas Morin, M-O-R-I-N. I reside at 5 Franklin Street. So it's actually right up the street from where the proposed development is going to be. So I'm here, actually just learned about this yesterday. So I've actually never been in this building in my life. I don't even know what you guys do over here, right? But it's something that affects me very kind of personally. I've lived in that neighborhood for 43 years. Literally my entire life. I grew up in that neighborhood over on Wilbur Street. I subsequently bought a house 3 houses down from the house I grew up in the same neighborhood because I liked it so much, right? It's nice and quiet. It's just a regular old neighborhood. And the proposed shoehorning, I guess, of a 4-story building in a nice wooded area over there, I think has just really got me down, right? It's aesthetically going to be unpleasing over there, right? We don't have any 4-story buildings in the whole city, right? The amount of traffic over there also, I've lived there my entire life, so I know during the school year how bad traffic is in the morning, people dropping off their kids, at night picking them up. Same thing with the buses. There's always traffic, stopped there. I cannot imagine having another 100 cars a day, travel through there on a morning commute or, commute at home or, home at night. I can't imagine. I go to the trail a lot, right? I have to cross that street. I go to the trail. I almost get hit by cars, all the time over there crossing that street. I actually got into a motorcycle accident at that intersection because somebody pulled out in front of me many years ago. So it's not, it's not a non-congested area. And I think it would be reckless to say that this isn't going to make it worse. As far as, students go and whatnot, right, there's plenty of middle school students that walk to school, bike to school. I see them every day. Safety should be a major concern for those kids that have to deal with the extra amount of traffic there. And frankly, this is really brought about by that new development on 691, right off of 691, where they cut down acres and acres and acres of forest to put into Whole Foods and TJ Maxx, and it really bothers me, just because the amount of traffic that is over there. That's my commute to work every day, and just they haven't even started opening up the stores, and it's going to be an incomprehensible amount of traffic on top of the 200 condos that they put over there. So I just personally, I don't think that it would fit into the neighborhood very well, and I just want to keep it, nice and quiet like it has been for my entire life. So I do have a little letter here that I would like to give to you guys. I saw some letters on the website that
Yeah,
were,
if you want to hand it to
posted,
Dave on the
so
way back to your seat.
I'll give
we'll
this
get
to
that
you
on the record.
guys, and thank you for your time.
Okay, Nicholas, I just want to inform you that because of the type of application this is, which is an affordable housing application, 830G, state statute 830G, we are only allowed to consider public health and public safety issues. All the other issues that we may typically take into consideration on a typical application we cannot take into consideration on this. So I appreciate your comments, and you touched on some of that.
No problem.
And the other thing, just a point of clarification, the development that you spoke of on 691, just over the line in Cheshire.
Oh, yeah, no, I know,
So-
it's not you guys,
I
I
know.
know, it's just really close to me
It's just
still,
that-
so.
But it does go to show you,
Yeah.
though, that what we do or what they do is gonna have some effect on
Yeah,
us or
yeah.
them, so.
get it.
It is what it is, but.
No,
you know,
I get it, I just
hear
wanted
ya.
to share,
I hear
you know,
ya.
my
Yeah,
opinion as a lifelong Plantsville resident there, so.
Of course, yeah.
All right, thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Thank you very much for coming out. Anybody else? Don't be shy. Hi. Look like everyone else stepped back while you stood
Pick a
still.
number.
So,
My name is Sandra Waycott. I live on the corner of Buckland Street and Milldale Avenue. I reside at 225 Buckland. I guess I've been there for about 80 years. The area has changed dramatically in the past 20 years, and I wondered what the zoning commission had as a vision for Plantsville. The reason I ask this is because we have so many structures that have gone up on Buckland Street and on South Main Street over these last 20 years and before. We've got Glen Hollow, we have Birch Meadow, we have Highland Hills, we have A86 apartments, we have South Village, we have PUDs, or cluster housing on Buckland and on South Main Street. If you lived through the flooding last fall, and you lived anywhere in the area of Buckland Street or South Main Street, you saw that traffic was diverted to all of Buckland Street in order to get through to the Plantsville area. It was not a pleasant situation at all. Anybody who lives there knows this. I walk my dog every single day down Milldale Avenue, South Main Street, Buckland Street. The traffic consideration from the junior high school is incredible. Some mornings I can't even cross the street. Okay, you bring in this four-storied structure and all of the other traffic situation that it's going to involve, and it's going to create a problem. My concern is, again, I've lived there for 80 years. I don't want to see the neighborhood change. It's a residential area. It wasn't meant for all of the housing that is being proposed, and that's all I have to say.
okay. Thank you, Sandra. Any questions of Sandra from any member of the commission? All right, seeing none, thank you very much for coming out. Have a great night. Anybody else like to give us input?
My name is Jonathan Bossy, live at 265 Buchan Street. For the sake of being brief, I'm just going to read a statement. As a Southington resident, I respectfully urge you to reject the proposed zoning text amendment related to this development. While I support the goal of expanding affordable housing, this amendment and the specific development it enables, this application raises several very serious concerns that have not been adequately addressed, in my opinion. First and foremost, the proposed development provides only 74 parking spaces for 64 residential units. This appears insufficient regardless of any zoning requirements that currently exist, considering that many households have more than one vehicle. It's also worth noting that 11 of the spaces are either ADA accessible or EV, further depleting that supply of parking. Overflow parking will be inevitable at JFK Middle School, adjacent properties, Route 10, and it's not clear to me where those overflow vehicles will go. And I know that was addressed previously by the commissioner. Beyond this inconvenience to the people who live around there, this will likely create safety and congestion issues on surrounding roads where there will be parked vehicles and pedestrians crossing the street in areas that you wouldn't expect it. Second, the hydrology on the site, I believe, has not been adequately addressed in relation to the downstream wetlands and river. The current site naturally drains east to west via sheet flow into adjacent wetlands. The proposed design changes the drainage patterns to a single discharge point, concentrating the flow and potentially altering the natural patterns. My question for the applicant is, has any modeling or evaluation been done to assess the impact of this change? Third, in relation to the stormwater, once again, according to state standards, the Connecticut Deep Stormwater Quality Manual, test pits are required to evaluate soil for stormwater management systems. To quote the manual, field infiltration testing is not required for infiltration systems proposed in hydraulic soil group A and B soils, which this site has. However, there must be field verified tests through test pits or soil borings, and I did not see any of this documentation in the application. The stormwater management design may be based on incorrect assumptions that I feel should be validated through additional testing. Finally, although the project appears to be designed around the wetland buffer, many proposed features, including retaining walls, grading, and tree clearing, directly abut or even touch the buffer zone. It is nearly certain that construction will encroach into the sensitive area. And why, in this case, has this project not been subject to local wetland approval and review? Wetlands protection is not optional. It's a fundamental responsibility as part of any development. It's my understanding that the state of Connecticut has identified the spotted turtle as a species of special concern for this area. If the state is acknowledging this wetland species as a consideration of the project, why isn't the town of Southington's Wetland Commission at a very minimum reviewing? A 50-foot wetland buffer, at the end of the day, is an arbitrary number. Common sense tells me that this application should be subject to that review at a minimum. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, could I just ask you a question real quick?
Yes.
Are you a professional or professional engineer or a wetlands?
I am a professional engineer. Yes,
You are a professional engineer?
yes,
A civil engineer?
yes.
I'm going to guess. So have you had any experience with development like this in the past?
I do it every day.
You do it every day. Have you ever seen a situation where this type of application has come forward with, you brought up parking, you brought up wetlands review, you brought up hydrology. Have you ever seen an application anywhere else, a 830G application anywhere else where those items were at this level of concern in your professional opinion as a professional engineer?
Yeah, it's just about on every project, the public comes out and has similar concerns, especially with traffic. That's number one. And I'm not so concerned with the traffic itself, but the parking to me just doesn't seem to add up. And hopefully that's being addressed in some way, but it's such a small site, I don't see where they could fit more parking. That's just my opinion.
Well, it's your opinion, Jonathan, but your opinion as a licensed professional engineer, correct?
Yes,
You are licensed by the state of Connecticut as a professional engineer?
I am, yes.
In order to be licensed as a professional engineer in the state of Connecticut, you're required to meet certain criteria, pass tests, and maintain a certain level of education, which keeps that license active and adequate?
Yes,
You have the ability to stamp, review and stamp drawings as a professional engineer,
I
correct?
do, yes.
Okay.
And just to be clear, I'm just a resident who lives nearby and had these concerns.
Well, I agree with that. I understand that, but I think that your level of input is important as a professional engineer, because we don't typically get a lot of professional engineers who come in front of us and provide input on applications, whether it's an A30G or not. It's almost like getting a third-party peer review, if you will, on a proposed design. Okay. Thank you,
you.
Jonathan. Thanks. I appreciate you coming out. Anybody else like to testify or provide input on this application at this time?
Hi, Mary Peterman, 71 Wilbur Street, Plansville. I know that you saw me at the last meeting and you said that further testimony wasn't necessary, but emotionally, it's necessary for me. So I appreciate just a few moments
Yeah,
of your time.
yeah, do it.
I am aware of the delay that was requested by 3 Squared, and the monstrosity is my name for it, at 1104 South Main Street, Plantsville. And we do believe in the concept of affordable housing. We are vehemently opposed to that location. And I do believe that the town has the right to refuse the proposal because of the change in zoning needed, and we ask you to stand by that. We do know there's a bill to increase affordable housing in the state. The governor has not signed off on it yet, and it feels like that we may be being rushed to comply with a non-existent mandate. The latest news stated he requested more time to give more control for the towns. We respectfully request that you deny this application and direct 3 Squared and their legal team to pursue appropriately zoned land elsewhere in Southington. In addition to the wetland, safety, traffic, and fire concerns already raised, the village of Plantsville has recently been renovated after months of traffic delays and detours. All the money spent to make it resemble a village that hosts events like Christmas and Halloween in the village make us look and have more of traffic like a city. It would be like Music on the Green traffic in Southington on a daily basis. And everyone who does not attend knows to avoid downtown Southington on Wednesdays in the summer, but this would be daily. Would this building be allowed in downtown Southington? I think not. Even our signs are required to be lower than 4 stories. It was a little disturbing to hear that some of the members of the commission hadn't viewed the property that's under consideration for rezoning. We get that. You have jobs and families, but we live there and walking and driving by it on a daily basis. So please listen to us. There's a house there right now with a detached garage, even though it's business owned. It's not an eyesore, but it will be. So we ask you to stand up for the people who voted you into office and think about if this was proposed next to, across the street, or around the corner from where you live, because we are considering the health and safety of the residents. No matter what the change is being proposed by 3 Squared at the next meeting, we ask that you deny the zoning change and request they seek an alternate location without a need for rezoning. Please help us preserve the small amount of land we have in Plantsville and its integrity. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mary. Any questions of Mary from members of the commission? All right, thanks for, Commissioner Britton.
Just more of a statement. Many of us have taken the time to go down there and review the lot, just so you know.
I appreciate that. It was just mentioned that the commissioner hadn't at the last meeting, and it's, I know, how can you do all that? You work full-time, this is your non-paying, voted-in job, we get that.
And to see the property during school time, too.
Yeah,
So.
so you've seen the traffic with Kennedy and the daycare and all of that, so that's where the health and safety comes in. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else? Regina, I'm just going to note that you were here 2 weeks ago. You provided testimony. That testimony is on the record. But for a second time, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Just quickly, I did agree the place is in a great place. But as you said earlier, we had another place, Briarwood College. They were going to put affordable housing there, and now that is not happening. We need affordable housing. It's as simple as that. Maybe years ago, this town should have thought about building so many businesses, and instead keeping it a town, a country town that I was brought up in. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Any other member of the public who'd like to testify on this application at this time? And again, we will be back here on July 15th, where the unveiling of the new revised plan will be provided, and we'll be taking input at that one, and hopefully at the meeting after that on August 19th as well. So, go ahead.
Hi, John Morphus, 15 Wilbur Street. Yeah, I can't oppose this anymore. It's obviously just a money grab and a 4-story monstrosity. I mean, we all know what this is. I bought my home 23 years ago on Wilbur Street with my wife, and Route 10 there is super crowded. This just makes 0 sense. It's right within walking distance of the trail. I walk the trail once, twice a day. This is a disaster. I mean, we all know what this is going to bring in. Affordable housing, schmortable housing. I want to know, where are you going to put the checks? Where are you going to put the checks?
John, everything comes at me, right? You don't address the applicant, so address me. Everything comes through the chair.
Where are you going to put the checks cashed building? Where is the extra police booth going to be? You know, what else? This is, I mean, we all know what this is. It's going to bring in absolute garbage. The quality of the trail has declined. I keep running into riffraff, people drinking under the bridge. My wife's been verbally assaulted, and, you know, she doesn't even want to go on the trail anymore because of the riffraff. No, I'm sorry, vibrant, diverse trail. And now this is going to bring in more of that. And I don't want any of it. I don't want any of it in my nice little neighborhood. Okay? So affordable housing, I don't even want affordable housing. I want more expensive housing. That's what I want. How you like them apples? I want more expensive housing. I do not want affordable housing unless, you know, you're going to have a police booth right there. Okay? You're going to have, can we please have armed police officers on the trail 24/7? So I don't have to run into dirtbags on the trail.
Hey, John, well, let's stay away from that language, please. I'm not going to let you use the word dirtbag to describe anybody. So please stay away. It's what I said at the beginning. We're going to be respectful. Stay away from using that type of language. If you don't, then I'm going to ask you to leave.
I guess nobody likes the truth. So,
Hey, John, you know what? Please don't. Don't make me do this, because you're not going to be disrespectful to me. You're not going to be disrespectful to anybody else out there, and you certainly are not going to be disrespectful to 43,502 other people who live in this town by calling them names or making offhand comments under your breath about what my intent is. My intent is to be respectful. I want to hear what you have to say. I'll give you leeway to say what you have to say, but you're going to do it in a respectful manner, and if you cannot, then I'm going to ask you to leave. You have 2 strikes right now. One more time, and I'm going to ask you to leave, so please be aware. I've never done it. I've been a chairman for 6 years, and I've never done that, but I will do it, because I'm not going to tolerate it. Thank you.
you're welcome. No more.
All right. Anyone else like to testify on behalf of this application? Seeing none. Yep. Andrew, Attorney Moran, whatever you want to be called.
Yes, thank you. If I may, Mr. Chairman, and I expect I'm going to get some pushback on this, but just please, I'm just doing my job. I'd wonder if you'd be willing to put on the record, I saw you were discussing something with Mr. Bacher. I apologize if I mispronounced that, but just to apprise the applicant of the nature of that conversation.
Oh, I just asked him to, the conversation when I went over there?
Yeah.
I just asked him to submit he said he had a letter. I asked him to submit that letter to our town planner so he can have that as part of the record.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I'm just doing my job too, Attorney Moran. I hope you appreciate that.
Understood,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was elected to do a job. I'm just doing that job. I understand you all are doing your job. I'm just doing mine.
I respect that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else to add, Attorney Moran, before we close it out for today? Because is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to testify on this? Okay. Anything
I have
else?
nothing else. Thank
Okay,
you.
all
Thank
right.
you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move past that and into our business meeting. Item 10A, Northeast Winemaking, special permit application to permit 20% floor use for retail space per section 2E2 and zoning regulation 5D 6-1, property located at 310 West Queen Street. This is SPU 715. I'm looking for a motion on this one. Commissioner Walowski.
I just have a question
Yeah.
for Dave. Ready for action? With the
Yes,
exception of health and water, which we could stipulate?
Correct.
Approvals? All right, so I'll make a motion to approve SPU 715 with the stipulation that health and water approvals are confirmed.
Second, please.
Commissioner Sewell with a second. Is there any further discussion?
I just remember this application for last year.
Can you just get close cut to the, okay.
I remember, seeing this application last year, the actual site plan, so we knew this was coming, just, it's a great thing getting it across the border
Yeah,
into our space, so, yeah, no issues.
yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Can you call the roll, please, Dave?
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Rasul,
Yes.
Commissioner Caird,
Yes.
Commissioner Jablonski.
Yes.
Commissioner Walowski.
Yes.
Chair Hammerson.
Havers is a yes, motion carries 6-0. Looking for a table on items 10B, C, or I'm sorry, looking for a table on items, item 10B, HQ Realty LLC, site plan application proposing to permit multiple buildings and additional parking on one parcel per sections 9C5 of the zoning regulations, property located at 136 Curtis Street. This is zoned in I2 SPR 1900. My understanding is that staff is still awaiting for some additional information, and the applicant has requested a table. Commissioner Walowski,
Mr. Chair, I request a table for SPR 1900.
you move for a table.
Move for a
We got a
table.
second from Commissioner Britton. Any discussion? I'm not sure that that's open for discussion, but all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10C, D, and E, those are in active public hearing, so we'll look for a table on those. Commissioner Walowski,
I'll make a motion to table ZA 620, ZC 582, and SPR 1897.
is there a second? Commissioner
Second.
Britton with a second? I'll get you, Kat, you'll get in there, don't worry about it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Or opposed? Motion carries. Item 10F, Hoist Real Estate LLC, proposed 4-lot subdivision, property located at 322 Lazy Lane. This is zoned in R 2025 S1343. Mr. Judas, we meet again.
See if I can get situated here. Good evening, Mr. Chairman
Hi.
and commission members. For the record, Stephen Judas with the Office of Cole Civil and Survey at 876 South Main Street in Plantsville. This property is, actually, I'm going to pull up another slide real quick. This commission had approved an ARC-Z on a portion of this property. A few months ago, 6 months ago. If we look at the total piece of the property on this PDF, we had a 7.5 acres that we were proposing for a 55-plus ARC-Z zone that the commission did approve. And this is kind of the house cleaning for that application, because we're only using a portion of the property with that application. So we're proposing to subdivide this property into 4 parcels. This ARC-Z would be one parcel, and then we have 3 additional parcels with frontage off of Lazy Lane. We have some easements that run through the property, CLMP easements that restrict construction in certain areas of the parcel, but we do have a common driveway with 3 proposed homes for the remaining property. It's an R2025 zone. Its properties are serviced by public water and public sewer, and there'll be a common driveway that would run through the access for lot number 4 that each of the homes would share. We have proposing a sewer and water extension up into the property, and we've gone back and forth with staff on revisions, and I think we've come to a good place where we've addressed all of their concerns at this time. Street trees had to be kind of populated around the easement areas, so we just tried to stack those up in areas that were outside of the CLMP easement. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. This is, I believe we're ready for action on this one.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Before I open it up to other commissioners, there was an email from town staff, engineering, asking that a proposed utility easement in favor of the town of Southington be removed from the plans. Has that been done?
Yes, that was a misunderstanding on my part. I thought that the request was for the town to maintain the easement, but it was actually requested that the lots maintain the easement. So that revision has been made on the plans.
Okay, but you're okay if we
Yep.
stipulate that, just to make sure that that's done?
Yes, it's
Prior to any
Absolutely.
plans getting signed off on?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the applicant for members of the commission? Commissioner Wowski?
My question is for Dave. I'm sorry, it's just, I've never seen a three-home shared driveway in my 6 years here. Is that something that, without having to go look it up, is that something that's doable?
Yes, through the chair. They just have to pave that access so it doesn't cause any erosion on the neighboring properties. So the one lot, I believe, is a rear lot, and then the other 2 feet off of it, and then they come to an agreement with the maintenance for plowing and what have you, excuse me, but it is legal.
Okay.
You all set? Commissioner Britton?
Can we just get clarity on the sidewalk waiver? I see the response here, and the response is sort of vague. It says, we believe sidewalks in this application should fall under off-site improvement. Does it or does it not? Based on our recent reg
I'll let the
changes.
applicant
Yeah.
answer that.
So, depends on who you ask. It's a legal question, and if I'm going to give you the history of it, it dates back quite some time in the state of Connecticut and the town of Southington. With a site plan, the commission has the right to require sidewalks they consider off-site, so you can require a sidewalk for any site plan that comes before you. When we propose subdivisions, it gets a little fuzzier, and anything that's considered off-site, if we're proposing a roadway, then we would have to propose sidewalks. Because this only has road frontage on an existing road, the sidewalks fall under an off-site situation. And in the past, the town has been involved with a couple different lawsuits where I know Attorney Shoda at the time said, okay, we're not gonna require off-site improvements as far as sidewalks are concerned. On top of that, there was also a lawsuit called Buttermilk Farms versus the town of Plymouth, where that kind of went all the way up to the Connecticut State Supreme Court, where the courts decided that with a subdivision, it's a different requirement because it falls under a different statute, and that you couldn't require a sidewalk and an off-site improvement. So historically, in the town of Southington, this type of application would not require a sidewalk. Now, I understand that times have changed, and we have new people in all these different positions. But that was our, historically and legally, I think that it would be considered an off-site improvement in this particular situation. So that's why the response was that way. And I don't know if Mr. LaValle cares to comment on my position or not, but I'm happy to hear what he has to say.
I'll have something, but I'm going to let Rob finish before we get there, so.
No,
Rob.
my only comment was, yeah, historically, we didn't have this, sidewalk waiver.
No, this is nothing to do with sidewalk waivers at all. This is a state statute or issue.
So I guess I'll address the commissioner, chair here.
All right, and
Get your
because
thoughts on
this is a subdivision application, we have different regulations under our subdivision regulations. That's where that applies. There actually was a property down the street from where this is, on the corner of Curtis and Lazy, where they came in with the same position that Steve is stating, that it was considered an off-site improvement, and legally, we didn't have the right to require a sidewalk on that because it was an off-site improvement. So just to give you some recent history on this topic.
I know the commission.
Geographically in the same area.
Yeah, I know the commission's strong about sidewalks, and I generally try not to come in and ask for waivers unless I really believe in them. In this situation, we have the history and we have the court decisions that I believe if you did some research, you'd see. I'm not pulling this out of my hat. It's really a.
But
really is a
Steve,
statute.
to the best of your knowledge,
Yeah.
you feel that it falls under the off-site improvement?
Yes, sir. That's my position. Yeah.
That, you satisfied? I don't know if, Dave, did you have anything else you
No,
wanted to
I
add there?
agree with
Okay.
his historical assessment of it.
Any other questions of the applicant for members of the commission? Steve, was the original site plan, did that have sidewalks in it? Just refresh my memory.
We are proposing sidewalks on the other portion with the site plan. And that was something that, I don't think we asked for a waiver. I think that originally it wasn't on the plan, and the commission said we want it on the plan, and if you want a waiver, come back and ask for a waiver. So I think they're gonna just that's on the other side, but yeah, I think that's on there.
I'll just say that relative to that issue, as I said at the one on the corner of Lazy and Curtis, that I'm going to assume that these are intended for families to live in. And ostensibly, it's reasonable to determine that there'll be children in there who are going to be taking a bus. And the absence of a sidewalk, while allowable, as I said I don't think you were the representative on that one.
No,
I
I
think
don't-
it was.
doesn't ring a bell.
I think it was Sev, but
Sev.
just because you can do it doesn't mean that you should do it, but I'll just put that on the record
I
on this
understand.
one as well. There was a comment from the planning department, comment number, let me just make sure I get this one correct. Where is it? It's the one on industrial, piece of it is in industrial property.
Yes.
Yeah, could you just elaborate on that, please?
So the applicant
Lot 4, it says.
owns the property to the north here. And when he sold that property, this corner was retained. So because there was a 50-foot right-of-way that came through the property that went out to this piece. And originally, I think the thought was maybe I could do something there from an industrial perspective. But once we looked at the wetland issues there, that property really wasn't developable from an industrial perspective. So that property was just combined with this piece, so it wasn't just an outlying piece of property. So we don't have any, there's nothing proposed to be done with it. We're not really counting it. We have more than enough area on this site, but it just cleans up a random triangle of property that is just out there with nothing to be done with.
And as part of this application, you're not proposing to change the zone on that piece of?
No, sir.
That corner of the?
No, if you remember, we did come back and at the time we did the ARC-Z, we requested a zone change on the 50-foot strip because that was an industrial zone property. And we knew at that point we weren't going to go that route. We were proposing residential. So I guess we could have changed it to residential at that time. I didn't think it would make a difference one way or the other because it really doesn't affect our proposal here.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant for members of the commission?
I got a question on number 4,
Go ahead, Todd.
Steve. So I see mentioning the garage, and there seems like kind of an informal agreement between the abutting property owner and the applicant here.
Yeah.
I mean, are there any other potential implications down the road if this, kind of informal handshake, goes awry and somebody is upset? I mean, is there anything potential like ZBA or, approvals for that?
I don't even know if ZBA could approve it, to be honest with you, because it is on the property line. It's something that kind of, it was shown on maps and it wasn't shown on maps and it was there, it wasn't there, it was back and forth. And, I think that if the neighbor wanted to do an adverse possession claim on it, they could do that and try to gain ownership of that property. We still have the required area, we would have the required area that we would need if that were to happen. They just haven't formalized anything other than, I think, just a contract between the two property owners that they can use it. And I think, I'm not sure the details of it, but I think it has to do with like a life use or something. As long as they're in that house, they have the right to use the garage. So they kind of inherited that when they bought the parcel in the back, because this strip was came with the parcel in the back, the industrial parcel in the back.
Okay. Appreciate the clarity.
You all set, Todd? Any other questions of the applicant? Anything else, Steve?
That's it.
Okay. So, we're looking for a motion on item FS1343.
We have to make a motion on the sidewalk waiver first?
The sidewalk waiver is not required because it's a subdivision.
Okay, so it's part of it.
Yeah.
Just asking for
Oh,
clarification.
Yep. Do we have a motion on item 10F?
I'll make a motion to approve S number 1343.
Do you want to put a stipulation on there that engineering's
Oh, yes.
requirement or request to remove the easement be addressed?
Yeah, we have to put a stipulation that
Okay.
health, fire, and water comments are addressed, and that the easement,
Remove the easement to the
remove
town.
the easement
To the town.
to the town.
Okay, we have a motion with a stipulation. and a second from Commissioner Britton.
Next one will be
It'll look to my left sometime.
There you go.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
Commissioner Sewell?
Abstain.
Hey, Jamie, when you do that, you need to tell us why.
Never had to in the past.
I'm telling you, you have to tell us why. We need it for the record.
Conflict of interest.
Commissioner Caird?
Yes.
Commissioner Chapunsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallowski?
Yes.
And Chair Hammerstein?
Hammer's a yes, motion carries 5-0-1, one abstention.
Thank you for your time and consideration
Thanks,
tonight.
Steve. Item 10G, Frank and Mary Fagola, site plan application modification for a proposal to construct an age-restricted affordable housing for 30 units under state statute, section 830G, property located at 295 Lanning Street. This is zoned in R80 SPR 1811.1. Mr. Brevino, who's leading the charge here? You or? You got the mic, I guess? I don't know. Tell me.
I'll make the introductions. Save, want to answer that? It's my wife. I'm not here. Mr. Chairman, good evening, commission members, staff. Brian Maccarello on behalf of the applicant. It's now Bagno LLC. The owners of that LLC are Frank and Mary Fragola. We've been before this commission quite a while ago. As you may know, we're here tonight to modify the court stipulated judgment and in essence, the site plan, just for two reasons. Through a lot of effort with the town staff, a few of the other boards, the town council, we were able to get approval to enter into a, if you will, a swap for the sewer exclusion area. So in other words, this property was approved for septic. The public came forward after the hearing, after the lawsuit, after the stipulation. My client heard them loud and clear. We started our efforts to request that the sewer be extended. So there was a subcommittee, sewer subcommittee, part of the town council. They created a new ordinance which would allow this, not just for this property, but townwide. So we went through those efforts. And now, as a result, we need to modify the site plan to accommodate the sewer, and we're limiting the septic. And the only other change is there are 15 duplexes which were approved. There's no increased unit count, so it's going to be 30 separate buildings rather than 15 duplexes. It makes more sense from an aesthetic point of view. It kind of reduces any potential fire loss. Actually creates a larger tax base for the town. And it allows us to take the 9 affordable units, this is an 830G, seems to be the theme tonight. It allows us to take those and put those in separate units rather than having a duplex with a market rate unit and affordable. Just for the benefit of the town, affordable doesn't mean, you're gonna have the blight that some people may think that happens. The 9 units, which is 30% of the total, which is what the state requires, they're going to be leased units. They're not going to be sold the market rate. It's just obviously for financial reasons, that's just not feasible. So we're here tonight for the 2 modifications. Sev's here. I'm also here with Frank Fragola, but also Dan Laporte. There was some comments or questions about the connectivity between the golf course. So Dan's here as well. We've put a lot of things together. We just want to, tighten them up. But he's here to answer any questions. I know that was one of the first questions, I think, if I'm not mistaken, on the June 2nd planning and zoning checklist. But I'll turn it over to Sev, unless you have any questions for me.
I do.
Okay.
Commissioner Wallowski?
If I may, Mr. Chair. You referenced the town council twice.
Yep.
Are you saying that the town council supports this project, or are you saying that they approved the sewer line?
Well, I mean, the project was already approved, so we through court intervention, we have a court stipulation.
Okay,
In
so
fact,
you-
what I like to,
you
yeah, well, the
basically
town council is
alluded to
the
fact that the town council was supporting this project, which I would contest.
well, no, not necessarily. The town council allowed, they through their efforts, subcommittees, they created the ordinance which allows this sewer to be extended into the sewer exclusion area. There was a swap, so we followed the, the ordinance itself. You have to take 1.2 bedrooms off of other property that's owned in town, which was done, in a sewer service area, which was done. So, I mean, if you were to ask me, is town council supportive? I'm going to say yes, because they approved, maybe not necessarily, the affordable housing, but they approved the sewer extension.
I think you're taking a little bit of a leap there with that.
Well,
But we're going to agree to disagree.
Okay, well, yeah, so with that, for the record, I'd like to submit the joint motion for stipulated judgment, proposed orders pursuant to Section 8-8N of the Connecticut General Statute. This is an appeal taken pursuant to and in compliance with Section 8-30 of the Connecticut General Statutes governing affordable housing appeals. This is a court stipulation entered into by the town's attorney as well as the attorney that my client hired. It's docket number HHD CV 21 6147597S. It's dated June 16, 2022. You could tell we've been at this for quite a while. So I want to submit this for the record for the benefit of the town attorney, who will, with me, after assuming there's an approval. I'm not going to make an assumption that there is. If there's an approval, there needs to be legal notice. So we have to wait the 15-day for the appeal period. Then we have to publish legal notice, and then we have to file a motion to go back to court just to amend in conformance with the modification. So.
I think that's fine, Brian, but I also think that we probably have that on our file, but by all means. just
I'm not
before-
sure.
Yeah, I mean, it
so I
doesn't
wanna-
hurt, right? So just before you leave, if you just want to make sure Dave has that, and Dave, if you could just make sure that gets into the file on this one, please. Anything else, Brian, before we go to Seb? Any other questions?
No, not for me, unless you have any questions.
Brian, for members of the commission? All right. Let's give it to Sev, and then we'll see where we are. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Seb Bovino, planner with Kretzer Jones, represented the applicant. As the attorney Macarillo indicated, the original layout for this property was duplex, and currently it's a single families, as you can see. So there's two changes, as he indicated. One is the layout of a single family with no cul-de-sac. This is a continuous loop coming out. The original one had cul-de-sac at this location with duplexes arranged. And if you're interested, I have the set of plans here with me if you want to see them. The property in question is at 295 Laney Street, north side of the road. It is just east of the Baptist Church. The church is over here. This is north going up in the sheet. The property is 11.5 acres, is served by public water for the entire frontage. We have a water line on our side of the street that continues east towards Pleasant Street. The other change was to allow the sanitary sewer, which is right here, 350 feet away from our corner, to be extended. It is in the southwest corner of our property at this location that we're going to enter the property and move into the project and provide the sewer to all the units. That would be in place of the SEP systems. The plans submitted show the extension of the sewer line along Laney Street within our project. So the plans that were submitted to the town are multiple sheets, and they have all the plan and profiles showing the sewer, the water line, and all drainage, and all that's necessary to build the project. This is an over 55 community with 9 units, 30% allocated to workforce housing. All units are designated to be handicap accessible. The owner wanted to have it that way because it's over 55, so I want to make sure that everybody can access the units. We propose a path to connect to the golf course for the residents to use if desired, and it's a connection at this location here. There's a green in this location, so the residents could come at this through these, between these two units and access the golf course. And as I understand, there is an agreement in place, and Mr. Laporte is here to confirm that. An emergency access also was provided at this location going to Lanning Street in case there's any concerns or any accidents happening and there's a need to use the emergency access, it is provided. There will be a gate at this location. The keys will be provided to the emergency personnel. The plan provides for centralized mailboxes at this location as you pull in the project to the right. There's parking spaces there dedicated specifically for the mail, for the mailman, and for the resident to stop and pick up their mail. On the left side of the entrance, the owner, Mr. Fregola, wanted to provide something that the community can enjoy. It's a proposed fountain here with benches and flower beds and walkways around that fountain. Regarding the drainage, the zero increase in runoff is provided by a detention area at the northwest corner of the property. We provided zero. In addition to that, we have roof drains being directed to the underground storage units for each house, and that will allow us to recharge the groundwater on the site. The units will have landscaping, and there's a detail on the upper left corner of the sheet here indicating a typical landscaping provided for each unit. There's individual street trees will be planted as required along the roadway system. Lighting will be full cutoff LED lighting. We don't have a cul-de-sac anymore, but the road radiuses are typical of a subdivision. Actually, these are larger. These are 40-foot radiuses, so the fire truck can make it through this area easily and come back out. I spoke to the fire marshal today, and we agreed that we're going to provide the fire department with a map showing the fire truck making the movements throughout the project. And I believe he agreed to send a memo to the commission regarding that. David Norris had a question about road grades at the intersection here, at the entrance of the property. At the entrance, and I believe my associate, David Quirk, provided an answer, and David recognized that there was a proper answer to the question. Correct, Dave?
Yes.
I met with the water department also yesterday, and they will be able to serve the property. It's just a matter of providing them the appropriate mapping that they require, but it is no problem serving the property. At this point, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Okay, Sev, we don't have a letter from the fire department in our stack of information at
Yeah,
this
he
point.
said he would
so-
send a memo, but if
Okay.
he hasn't,
It hasn't arrived in
Yep.
our box yet, is all I'm really saying. I'm not doubting that he said that, or it's gonna reflect what you said it's going to say. I'm just saying we don't have that right now.
okay.
And in lieu of that, I mean, I'll open it up for discussion, but I wonder if it might make sense to table this for tonight until we receive that from the fire department, just to make sure that we dot our i's and cross our t's on this application, but
You can stipulate it, it's up to you. It's your
we'll
decision.
figure that out up here. But is there any questions from members of the commission to the applicant? All right, I don't see any.
I just have some comments that I'd
Commissioner-
like to share with our
Well,
commissioners.
we don't have a motion right now, so I don't know if your comments are appropriate at this stage, but Dave, what do you think about the fire department? How do you think we should proceed on that one?
Well, obviously, it's,
I mean, it's a modification, right? And we did get a fire department, I know the turn-in radius was spoken about in the original application from a couple of years ago. I just am wondering with this new modification, I'm not saying it's going to change, we just don't have it on the record.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would just say that it wouldn't move forward through the town attorney without the approval, which is required to get to the court agreement. So
Okay.
however you structure it, we would
Okay.
essentially look for that before we release it to them.
Okay. All right, so why don't I open it up for a motion, and then we can have a discussion on that motion, whatever that motion might be. So is there a motion on this application?
motion to table SPR 181.1, 1811.1?
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Kier to table this application for tonight. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Britton with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks, guys. Yep. And hopefully we'll get that fire department stuff in the interim, right? Item 10H, Technology Industrial Park LLC, earth excavation application renewal for proposed industrial building and site work, property located at 99 Samoran Drive. This is located in an I2 zone. This is EE 145.1. Mr. Lovely, floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and fellow commissioners. Mark Lovely, Principal with Technology Industrial Parks LLC. This is really just a housekeeping item. In August, and I didn't want to wait because of vacation times and stuff like that, the earth excavation permit will be coming due for a 2-year extension. We've not started moving any earth on the property. We are under contract with a company for the property, which they're looking to get started at the end of the year. So we wanted to get this housekeeping item taken care of ahead of time, instead of last
So
minute.
this is a request for an extension, which you have the right to as the applicant, correct, Dave?
Correct.
We nomenclature, it's a renewal, so if there is no activity, he has the opportunity to renew it, which he has, and I don't have any issues with it.
Okay. Okay. Any discussion or questions of the applicant from members of the commission? Can we get a motion on this?
I'll make a motion to approve EE 145-1.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Sewell with a second. Any discussion?
Do we want any stipulations on that motion, based on what we're seeing here with health, fire, water pending?
There's typically limited review. It's literally the materials moving either off or on the site. In this instance, they're balancing the site.
So it can be done by staff?
Yes, I
Maybe.
wouldn't have reservations on that.
Then I'm comfortable with that.
Okay.
I was like even
No,
thinking
it's
about
okay.
that, yeah.
No, it's okay.
You good?
I'm good.
You good? Jamie, you good? Okay. Okay, roll on this, Dave?
Sure. Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
Commissioner Sewell?
Yes.
Commissioner Caird?
Yes.
Commissioner Chaplinsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Wolowski?
Yes.
And Chair Hammersley.
Hammers is a yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
6-0.
Perfect. Good evening.
Thanks. Moving on to item 11 on our agenda, administrative items. Dave, I think you have a couple things there, yeah?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have a site plan application that we'd like to do administratively. It's for a little pocket park down in Plantsville Center. This is the area that vehicles often hit the building down there.
Next to Hop House?
Correct, right at the corner there. So this will be a small park with decorative landscaping, a stone wall, plantings, and illumination. It'll be a nice little walkway, I think it's pavers, right, Dave? Pavers, really dress up the site, continue the Renaissance theme down there. It was designed in-house, we don't have any issues with it, so we'd like to do that administratively.
So David asked for an administrative review on that one, which I was comfortable with, but as always, we're bringing it to you all in the interest of transparency, and so you all know, and if there's any objection from anybody here, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Trust you.
Real good. Dave, also, you want to just briefly talk about the email that you sent out to Bob Ives and I earlier today on the Trotters Crossing?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Real
under-
quick.
Mr. Chairman, I believe under 7A7, there's a reasonable accommodation for ADA. If there's a particular site, someone lives on the site who is handicapped or has some disability, that the regulations create a hardship for them, then through the ADA accommodation, they can, I guess, usurp certain areas of our zoning regulations, whether it is height of fences for fear of people going over them, setback issues, that type of thing. I won't get too far into it with the address and the exact situation, but there was a situation where it was certainly warranted, given the situation with the family. So it's just a 5-foot height, where they're going from a 4-foot to a 6-foot. Actually, the 5 feet was the distance that they're moving into a front yard setback. just to give a little more area that's needed for their situation. So the regulations allow for either the commission or the ZEO to grant that, and I always check with the chairman on that. So we've used it in 2 other instances, and it was certainly appropriate in this instance.
Yeah, and it's an accommodation to facilitate or accommodate family members who are disabled, and it's part of our regulation that I think it goes with the owner of the property. It doesn't go typically our approvals go with the property itself. This goes with the owner. So if that owner were to ever move out, or that person who's disabled were ever to move out, then they would revert back to the standard regulation on this one, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Is that accurate, Dave? Yeah? Okay. Anything else, Dave?
No.
I'll just mention real quick that, and I sent a copy of this to you all in the email, that I had sent a letter to Governor Lamont asking him respectfully to veto House Bill 5002, which is the, what we'll call the omnibus housing bill that's sitting on his desk right now. It passed the Senate and the legislature. I pointed out a couple of concerns that I saw. I wanted to be brief about it. There are other concerns that I have other than the ones that I brought out, but I wanted to be on the record just to ask him to do that. As of today, I don't think he signed it. He has 15 or 16 days after the close of, or after it arrives on his desk, which I think is at the end of this week, if I'm correct. He sort of indicated he's not sure what he's going to do. So I'm not going to try to speak for him, but I just wanted to put that out there. Any new applications, Dave?
I believe we have one more that we expect to come in.
What's that?
We have one we expect to come in, but we don't have it.
We don't have it yet, okay. With that, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Too early, I want to go.
Okay. You can vote against it. Commissioner Britton with a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Chaplinsky with a second? I saw. Okay. I'm trying to give you some credit.